on AM 560, The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. If you're looking for the latest news, insight into what it means, and the sharpest opinion, there's only one station in Chicago where you can turn, and it's this one. We're AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. Charles Barkley, that's Sir Charles to you, Amy. He famously said athletes aren't role models, but sometimes they are, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes they are. There are exceptions. C.J. Stroud, the rookie QB for the Houston Texans out of Ohio State, another quarterback the Bears missed on, who's having an MVP, forget Rookie of the Year, he's having an MVP season right now. On this past weekend's victory and how he stayed cool under pressure. This is what C.J. Stroud explained to the press about who he is.
It's a lot of prayer, a lot of just knowing that, man, God wouldn't put anything on me that I can't handle. I don't deserve his grace and his mercy, but he still gives it to me, and I love him for that because, I mean, it's not about me, it's about him and his glory. So I think that's where it comes from. I think God made me like that. I've been through a lot, not only in football, but things that made me just kind of chill during when everything's going crazy. And I thank God for putting that on me because that's something that, put that in me, because that's something that you need playing in this position in this league.
How about that? Somebody reading from that same playbook, or maybe C.J. Stroud is reading from his, is Jonathan Isaac. He is a power forward for the Orlando Magic. Nice win last night over the Bulls, by the way. He is also a husband, father, author, speaker, minister. He was the lone NBA player in 2020 to not kneel for the national anthem amid league-wide demonstrations in support of Black Lives Matter. It led him to write a bestseller entitled Why I Stand. He also was willing to push back against vaccine mandates and sort of just thoughtfully ask questions about what we understood as we were all going through COVID as a nation and why the vaccine may or may not make sense for a young, healthy man like himself. He's asking questions. Unfortunately, he chose not to be CDC director. He's going to stick with the NBA. In addition to his game, he's also founded this company that we previewed when it became public over the summer. It's called Unitus, U-N-I-T-U-S, Unitus, and it's a sports apparel firm. And we're pleased to have Jonathan Isaac on the show to talk a little bit about all that. Jonathan Isaac, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Hey, thank you so much. I'm glad to be here.
So the inspiration for the sports apparel company?
I think mainly it's just about creating an alternative. As I began to look out into just where our country is headed, where society is headed, I felt like we're moving farther and farther away from godly values and principles and also constitutional values and principles. And so I just wanted to see my values, and I know millions of other values, that people share, represented in the marketplace. And instead of waiting for other people to celebrate them, we can celebrate them ourselves.
Are you getting any pushback from the league?
Not really. I've had my fair share of, I would say negativity around it, but it has completely been overshadowed by the positivity of people just understanding where I'm coming from, getting behind us, helping us be successful early. And, my mindset right now is just on continuing to expand, but I haven't gotten much pushback from the NBA.
We're a little sensitive about basketball shoes here because we don't want to take money out of Michael Jordan's pocket. He needs that money, Jonathan. He's got golf courses he's built. He's got all kinds of things going on. So, but to tell us the backstory on Judah 1, the shoe.
The backstory for the Judah 1 was really just the same thing. Back in 2020, I got injured, and I was originally a Nike athlete, and I ended up not re-signing with Nike. And then it turned into, okay, what do I do now? And I actually went to my pastor, and he told me I should create my own sneaker. And I was like, you're insane. But we started to go down the road of what it would look like, and it kind of just grew. And the same thing was like, okay, why don't I use a sneaker to wear my values on the court. And so this is literally the first NBA caliber sneaker with a visible Bible verse on the outside. There are 5 colorways, and each one features a different Bible verse. Different ones that speak to me in my journey. The one that comes out today at 4 p.m. is called Triumph, and it has 2 Corinthians 4:9 on it that says, persecuted, not abandoned, struck down, but not destroyed. And for me, that just speaks to my bout with injuries and coming back and just God continuing to be with me. And so the sneakers is just one way to, underneath Unitas, to continue to represent our values in the marketplace. And now I can, have that for young hoopers and athletes, everybody who plays basketball, saying, I want to wear my values while I'm on the court.
So
Yeah, I got a functional question about the Judah ones because I just bought shoes, but I'm gonna buy one of these Judah 1 pairs. But I used to play basketball, not
here
quite
we
at
go.
your
Oh
level,
my
not
gosh,
quite at
here
your
we
level,
go.
not quite your level. But now I'm an
You
old
didn't even
man.
make Bennett's high school team, okay?
Well, that's not true. But the question now that I'm an old man is, are they pickleball friendly? Because that's my new sport.
I would say so. They're definitely a basketball sneaker. Like I'm literally wearing them as we play. I wore them last night as we, like you said, we beat Chicago, and we got them again tomorrow. But yeah, I'm literally wearing them on the court. We have a few other NBA players wearing them. I would think they would hang up with pickleball.
Okay, okay,
So
good.
they could
Thank
be court
goodness.
shoes, and So how do you make a shoe that represents your values without compromising style or performance? Were you in on the process of the actual making of the shoe?
100% from the beginning. And so that was the daunting task for me, because it was like, hey, I have this idea. I want to create sneakers that represent my values. But the easiest thing to do is create a bad shoe and just slap a Bible verse on it and say, hey, it has my values. Everybody go buy it. But I wanted it to be performance-based and also very stylish. That's something that people want to wear. And so what I did was, it was kind of unconventional, but I saw it in a movie. And so I'm in Orlando. I went over to the UCF School of Design, their school there, and we actually turned it into an assignment for the students to have to come up with different looks. And we ended up hiring 5 of them after they showed their portfolios in their first kind of iteration of the shoe. And we were able to work with them, and that's how the first prototype look of the Judah 1 was born. And we just ran from it from there. But I'm so glad with the way that it turned out. And I think we nailed it with that balance of values, performance, and style.
Okay, we're getting slammed right now with text messages. How can we order the shoes? Where can we buy them?
Oh, awesome. I appreciate that. You can head to weareunitas.com, weareunitus.com. And right when you get on the site, you should see that the first colorway will drop at 4 p.m. You can just sign up to make sure you don't miss it, and, stay tuned.
Yeah, I'm already signed up. But here, a question for you. I mean, I don't want to get you in trouble, but UCF is your alma mater, Florida State. Are they upset with you that you went to UCF to get the design done and not to Florida State?
No, they're not upset. UCF is literally just right there. It's 20 minutes away. I would have had to fly to Tallahassee to do that. No.
And so you mentioned, you've had your share of negativity over the years, over the last few years in the NBA. I mean, sort of the same question that C.J. Stroud was asked. How do you stay cool under the heat? He was talking about the game pressure, but the pressure to, be the only guy who didn't kneel for the anthem in the NBA. I suppose maybe some players and some teammates and other players in the NBA said, hey, Jonathan, what's your problem?
Yeah, absolutely. I would say 2 things. I think the first off, and he said it so perfectly, with that, at the end of the day, it's not about him, it's about God. And what I tried my best to do in all of these moments where people say, oh, why do you have to take a stand? Why do you have to go against the grain? I try my best to move myself out of the way and say, you know what? I believe that this is what God is calling me to do, and I'm willing to lose. I hadn't signed my contract extension at the time when I decided to stand in the bubble. So, my career was up for jeopardy if, it had went in a different way. And so I was willing to say, you know what, God, I don't care about money. I don't care about what people think about me. I knew I was going to be name called. I knew I was going to be maligned. But I said, I believe that this offering Christ as a solution to the problems that we see in our society is the right thing to do. Kneeling won't change anything. Wearing a T-shirt won't change anything. And I think we've seen that it hasn't changed anything. And so that's where I was. And same thing with COVID. I believe that this is the right thing for me to do. This is what God is calling me to do, and I'm going to stand on it. And I think the second thing is the people that I have around me. I talked about how I went to my pastor when it came to the shoe. I've gone to him extensively for everything. And I was actually on the phone with him the night before I stood, and he said to me, Jonathan, you can't stand for God and God not stand for you. And that has been something that is, I've continued to live by. My wife, my family, my church family, they've always been there for me, encouraging me to stand up for what God has called me to do. And I never feel like I'm doing something alone.
Is that helped you get past maybe some of the skepticism initially that what you were doing is not making a political statement, but rather, living your faith beliefs, and that's what all of this is about. Maybe some people are skeptical in the beginning, and they're like, "Oh no, I get where Jonathan's coming from, and I may not agree with him, but I get where he's coming from."
100%. And I've grown as an individual as well when it comes to talking about politics and talking about all these different things. What I want, everybody to be able to do is to be authentically themselves. And if you stand for these values, I want you to have the confidence and pride to say, you know what, these are the values that I stand for. I can lead with grace and love, but I do need to stand up for what I believe in and let the cards fall where they may. We can agree to disagree. So I've definitely developed some callous. And it's because of that callous that I've been able to continue to create Unitas, create the Judah One, because I'm like, you know what? I'm not necessarily afraid of what people think anymore. I want to give people, lovers of God, lovers of country, a voice and a way to wear their values in a, great, high quality, stylish way. And I really feel like if we aren't creating alternatives for the future, when we do get to the point where they say, hey, if you don't believe this, if you don't agree with that, you can't shop here, you can't do this, you can't go here. And so if there aren't alternatives like Unitas, like other radio stations, like other TV channels and things like that, the only answer is going to be to conform.
So yeah, well said. Yeah. During COVID, Kyrie Irving took a lot of heat also for his position on the vaccine. I wonder, did you have, on COVID specifically and that whole situation, did you have conversations with him or other NBA players that were sort of similarly disposed and asking the same reasonable questions and providing the same thoughtful pushback?
I didn't, but me and Kyrie have always had a mutual respect for each other. Whenever we see each other, it's always, great to see each other. He continues to stand up for what he believes in, and I continue to do the same thing in my bout. But I didn't get to, talk to him much at all during that time.
Well, you were lucky because you could play at home games because you were in Florida, but he had to sit out home games in New York, which was ridiculous.
Exactly.
So Jonathan Isaac, power forward for the Orlando Magic. I want to ask you one more question about your relationship with God. Have you always had a special relationship with him, or is this something that you grew into?
Something that I definitely grew up into. I grew up in the church, but for me, it was always a traditional piece of my life. It wasn't something that was like, a real fundamental understanding of who Jesus Christ was, that he died for my sins and that he wanted to have a relationship with me and wanted to have a tangible relationship with me. It was just about, this is what we did as a family. It actually wasn't until I got into the NBA that that same pastor that I talk about, I met him on an elevator. And at the point in time, I was still searching. I was figuring myself out. I was, 1 foot in the world, 1 foot in, trying to understand who God was. And this random guy stops me at the elevator. We ended up living in the same building. And he said to me, I can tell you how to be great. And I said, how? And he said, you have to know Jesus. And from that moment, my life completely flipped upside down. It's a really long story, but I wrote about it extensively in my book, Why I Stand. And I would encourage anybody to check it out and get it on Amazon. But yeah, I go through the whole story of, how God orchestrated that moment and led me to, truly accepting Christ as my Lord and Savior and getting me to where I am right now.
All right. The Judah One drops today, by the way. If you go to the weareunitas.com website, there's also shorts and T-shirts and warm-ups and all sorts of other sportswear that's going to be available. weareunitas, UNITUS.com. Sign up for the Judah One, which drops this afternoon. Jonathan Isaac, power forward for the Orlando Magic. Great to speak with you. Best of luck with the Unitas company, and thanks so much for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you both. I really appreciate this. This helps us continue to grow and be what we want to be out here in the world. So thank you so much.
Thank you. God bless. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
Listen to podcasts of Dan and Amy from the AM 560 mobile app. Download it today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
Have you noticed cracked or sinking concrete around your home, driveways, sidewalks, garage floors, or patios? In addition to looking bad, cracked or sinking concrete causes an uneven surface that poses a safety hazard. Hi, I'm Roy Spencer, president of Permaseal. Would you like to fix the problem without replacing the concrete? We have the solution for you. Permaseal polylevel foam can be injected beneath concrete surfaces, leveling and preventing future settlement. Call Permaseal today at 800-421-SEAL for a free evaluation. The polylevel process is done with minimal disruption, quickly and at a fraction of the cost of concrete replacement. And unlike traditional mud jacking methods,